Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
All right. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. It is connected. Hold on. Yeah, we're good. All right. Yeah, we are live. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. As far as my weekend, I had a winning Saturday. Sunday, I got robbed of a winning day from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Oh, my God. Oof. Blew a ninth inning lead. Then in extras, just gave it all away, and then hit a couple home runs in the bottom of the 10th to actually make it interesting, only to let me down again. So Diamondbacks robbed me yesterday. As far as today we got 10 games on the board. Going to go through them. Then we're going to, if you want to hang around, we're going to go through one NFL team and 5 college football teams. That's what we're going to do. One NFL team a day and about a handful of college football. So then by the time we get to the end of August, we have gone through all of them. That's the plan. But first up is baseball. Yanks, Phillies in Citizens Bank. Zach Wheeler versus Luis Heel. I did not look at this one. I do have 5 bets down, not on this game. Gentlemen, either you guys like to take a swing at this?
Lindy, yeah, my bet sucks now, and I hate it, but I have the under of 9. Don't bet it. Don't tail me on this. I don't like it anymore. I don't know what crack I was doing last night, but here we are. I am looking at a Yankees lineup that is going to have Stanton coming back today. It has Jazz Chisholm coming to town. It's going to be just a ridiculous lineup top to bottom where they can play more matchup-based stuff. Don't necessarily have to go DJ LeMahieu, Cabrera in certain matchups that they don't want to. I like Wheeler. I like Heel. I think I'm a big Luis Heel stan, despite his xFIP that just continues to rise, despite some of the underlying peripherals that do concern me, such as the walk rate, 11.4%, but a 197 expected batting average. I looked at all of the numbers yesterday. I had this closer to around 8. You give me a full run discrepancy, that's going to be on my card. I don't feel very good, though, when you see Stanton coming back and just knowing that one swing of the bat has it going yard. Ben Rice is batting 8th today. That's how good this Yankees lineup has really turned around in the course of the last week.
So under 9?
Yeah, don't do it, though.
I don't know. I don't hate an under. I probably would be towards that direction if I was betting the total. Toast, did you place a bet on this game?
I placed a small wager on the Phillies. I don't like this spot in general for the Yankees coming off of that Boston series. I understand they're starting to heat up, and I understand that Stanton's back, but if he runs into one and I lose this bet because of a Stanton homer or a Jazz Chisholm homer or something like that, for me, so be it. I was trying to look at the under as well, but I just felt like this Phillies lineup now with Austin Hayes in the 9-hole, I think that gives them a little bit of depth as well. And the Phillies at home with Zach Wheeler, who I understand hasn't been the Zach Wheeler that we all know and love at times, but at the same time, Minnesota, Dodgers, the Cubs, Miami, Arizona. He's been fantastic. After that blow up against Baltimore, I just have a hard time believing we see that one again. So I took the Phillies at -140 at home. I'm just not in a spot where I trust this Yankees team just yet. So I understand they looked very, very good in Boston. But the fact of the matter is they're still 4-6 their last 10, 8-12 their last 20. Still need to see a little bit more from this Yankees team.
Yeah, I would actually lean the other way. I would like to bet the Yankees here at the plus price, but I won't for the simple fact that they're directly coming off of Sunday Night Baseball in Fenway, which is just an ugly spot. But like Lindy said, I'm a believer in Heel again. He started off the season, remember, he was looking untouchable, then went through the coldest of cold streaks, seems to be back. His last 2 starts, I mean, it's not like he's got 2 great starts against the White Sox and the Rockies. I mean, he went into Baltimore through a great game, 6 innings, just 1 earned run, through a great game against Grimace as well. So 2 back-to-back great starts from Luis Heel against good lineups that we know can hit right into pitching. So why should I doubt him here on the road in Philly against a Phillies lineup that I don't really know what to think of anymore? Yeah, they smacked Carlos Carrasco, but before that, didn't get to Lively, Woods, Richardson, Ober. I don't really know. So I would lean Yankees or pass here. Then you also add in the fact that the Phillies bullpen seems to be going through some shit as well. You can't rely on the Phillies bullpen anymore.
They just got a big reinforcement in Estevez, which helps.
Yeah,
man, let's not pretend that Carl Estevez is K-Rod. Come on.
What are you talking, dude? I'm not even going to get into that. He's been one of the better relievers in baseball over the last couple of years. That's not even
last
a question.
Couple years? No.
Yes,
he's having a
couple
good season.
years. I didn't stutter, bro. Come on. He was an all-star.
All right. So I guess Estevez makes the Phillies bullpen great. Never mind all the other arms. Never mind all the other arms that are getting hit up. Estevez, all of a sudden, the Phillies bullpen is great. It'd be Yankees or Pats.
I have Carlos Estevez ranked as the 14th best rotational pitcher in baseball. So, I mean, he's
this year.
Outrageous. This year, yeah. And going back to last year, I mean, the stuff was still there. The xFIP wasn't very good, 4.55 going back to last year. But he pitched in Colorado forever. I feel like you have to give somebody a little bit of a grain of salt when you pitch half the time in Colorado as a closer. His stuff played up so much more in Anaheim here. I think people recognize that this year. And, well, after 1 year of some growing pains, just like everything was painful for the Angels last year, losing Ohtani and just basically Trout every time out. This year, he's been so good that, he's 14th for me on the board.
Yeah, no question he's having a great year. But entering the season, it wasn't even certain that he was going to be the closer for the year. Like, it was still up in the air.
Yeah. I mean, because, the Angels, they're such a well-ran organization.
Mariners get a new bat, Justin Turner, going to the Mariners now.
Okay. Seattle going for it. Let's move on to the next game. What's up? Cleveland, Detroit. Toast, we talked about this one on the phone in the Discord we were talking about it. Really like Detroit. But what's keeping me off of it here? I didn't bet this game.
For Detroit for sure now, because I swear I've seen 3 names. Is it Bo now?
Okay. 100% Bo.
Oh, never mind. Well, glad I didn't bet it yet, because yesterday when we were talking about it, we were talking about Jack Flaherty.
I had the under. I hate everything that I've done today. I do. I despise every bet. I was just in Reno clicking buttons, and now major regrets.
So you're on the under again, Lindy.
Oh,
2 unders.
Thanks for coming. Have a nice day, everybody.
He got his wakeboard, played a whole bunch of unders, and now he's about to have the worst day of his life.
I don't know. I brought home some Mai Tai mix, so I'm gonna have the evening.
It looks like who is it? Brian Sammons is going to be the primary pitcher for Detroit, and then you're going to see Bo Brisk after that. For anybody out there that's watching this that does anything for you, cool. But it's a straight pass for me.
Well, now that this guy Brian Sammons is a lefty, maybe I'd lean towards Cleveland because I could trust them against left-handed pitching. It's Cleveland against righties that this is such an insanely long slump. We're talking about like 18 righty starters in a row now. 16 of the last 18, I believe it is, have pitched great games against Cleveland. They're not getting to righty starters. So when I thought it was Jack Flaherty, I was leaning Detroit, and I was sketched out by the price because I saw like a plus 101. It's like, why am I even able to get that? I'm glad I didn't bet it. The reason why was Jack Flaherty was never pitching. So I got nothing for this game.
Yeah, there are 4 other lefties that are potentially available. Schaffen will be in there. Holton will be in there. Joey Wentz pitched 43 pitches on Friday, but he was somebody I thought could potentially end up being the starter in this spot. But Bo Brisky and Salmon, I mean, it's not a very good lineup, a very good bullpen. They're 24th in WAR. They're just a little bit of an issue. You can play the platoon game here and there, but I mean, Josh Naylor to start off the season was one of the best left-on left hitters in baseball. So it was, I just hate this bet yet again. Just absolutely terrible decision making by Eric on a Monday morning.
Starting off with 2 bets, hates them both.
Yep. Cash them both, and then everything I love coming up later is going to get dusted. So that's great.
Let's move on to the next one, Prop Beaver. Cubs, Reds. Looked at this one. Really wanted to make a play on Carson Spears in some way. I know that sounds crazy. He's been pretty terrible, but he's actually got really nice looking numbers against righty bats. And I mean, his splits are pretty significant. Against lefties, 370 WOBA, 148 whip. Against righties, 249, 101. So Carson Spears actually more than capable of getting outs when he's seeing righty bats. Cubs aren't particularly loaded with lefties. I think they're going to have, I believe it's 4 lefties, 5 righties. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's 5 lefties now. They added who's the new lefty bat in the Cubs lineup? Mastroboni? Is that the new?
Yeah, and then Tauchman's back.
I was gonna say Tauchman, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Tauchman was hurt. So I didn't bet this one, but I wanted to make a play on that. The Reds lineup before they went all away to the road trip, they were crushing the ball. They were crushing right-handed pitching. Then they go on this road trip and they still were crushing it for a little bit. But then the last few days that we just saw, Reds bats seem to have disappeared. So, I mean, part of me wants to think now that they're back in Great American Ballpark, the bats come back to the way they were hitting at home before leaving for the road trip. So I don't think it's crazy to think the Reds are going to hit up Tyone, despite Tyone having an excellent season. But no, it's another bet. I do have 4 bets open. I swear. We haven't gotten to any of them yet. So I guess it would be. No, it's a straight pass. I don't even want to give a lean. Toast.
It'd be Reds first 5 or pass. Just trying to. I mean, you touched on why we would like Carson Spears and why we thought he could pitch well here. And then Tyone, he hasn't been as good on the road. Some of the Reds have seen him pretty decently in a really small sample size, so I don't really put too much stock into that. But if I gun to my head, it'd be Reds first 5. But I just don't trust the Reds bats right now, coming home from a road trip and whatnot. So it's a pass. But Reds first 5 if I had to make a bet.
Lindy.
I like the under here a lot.
Another one.
I know. Another one. Put in that work, Devin. Don't give up. Great commercial. But anyway, we've got the under because everything you said is 100% correct. I mean, Carson Spires, I look at some of the numbers there. Oh, lefties, I'm worried about it. Yeah, these are kind of below average lefties, I would say, across the lineup. Michael Busch has power. Ian Happ's been decent, obviously switch hitter there. Tauchman, Mastrobini, Pete Crow, Armstrong, I kind of have a weird thing for from time to time, but not today. Winds blowing in from right field ever so slightly. 73 degrees. That's part of this too. We've seen a lot of baseball here in Cincinnati where it's been 85, 90, 95. Getting 73, I know it's 90% humidity, which doesn't exactly help a ton, but 73 degrees, you've got some rain spotty in the area. It looks like it's going to play pretty clean to me, but I think both of these pitchers, I mean, Jameson Taillon continues to just get it done. I don't know a better way to describe him other than just a grinder out there. 303 xWOBA, 36.2% hard hit. Yeah, the fly ball stuff shows up, but this is just a Cincinnati team that at home, for whatever reason, cannot put it together. I'll just make them prove it to me here. Give me the under.
Another under.
Yeah, that's another thing. Cincinnati at home just hasn't been the same. They're not even a 500 team at home this year.
Yep.
Toast?
Yes.
Oh, no. Toast said Reds first 5 or pass. My bad.
Oh.
Next up, we didn't put a graphic up for it, so I was confused. That's why.
Also, hang on. One more thing to throw out for that game. Ellie De La Cruz, you got Miguel Amaya catching today. He's just not very good defensively. Slow pop-up time, bad arm. I think this is just an Ellie De La Cruz bet him to steal a bag at like plus money every single time right now. The guy's going to be pushing 60 here shortly. It's like plus 140, I think was the number earlier. I haven't bet it yet, but was curious if you guys saw anything with that.
I've never even looked. I know he steals bags at a high rate. I don't know. I don't know anything about the market.
I usually play 2+.
2+ stolen bases.
When I do it, I usually do because
All right.
Because when it rains, it pours in those kind of spots. Because it's like, oh,
exactly.
Good luck.
I've noticed that too. So that's why I started doing it. I don't even bet it a lot. I'm not trying to.
That's a sharp angle, though. I like that.
All right, next game, please. It was moved off to the side of the screen for some reason, but we're good. All right, so it's Seattle-Boston, and another game that I'm not betting. I promise. I have 4 bets coming. We're getting to them. Really wanted to play the Mariners here, but it's all right. I don't trust, and this dates back multiple years, I don't trust Nick Pivetta anywhere within 50 miles of Fenway Park. I mean, if he's pitching anywhere in that vicinity, he's just, and I mean, this isn't just this year. This is multiple seasons now where Pivetta has been a fade for me when he pitches at home. And there was a brief moment there earlier in the season where I was like, oh, maybe that's over with, like he threw a couple of good games at Fenway. And I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe we could put that to rest. But he's back. He's back to being the fade in Fenway. For whatever reason, this dude just can't pitch in his own ballpark. His last few home starts, he got crushed by Oakland. Before that, the Padres absolutely rocked him. You can find some good starts recently from Pivetta, but they're all on the road. So, yeah, Pivetta being at home. Seattle showing some signs of life offensively. I mean, they were active against Fedde. They got to Drew Thorpe, who had they actually murdered Drew Thorpe. So the Mariners with these new bats, the moves, the fan base is rejuvenated. I think there's a new energy with that team. I expect Seattle to score on Pivetta. So you might be thinking, with Logan Gilbert on the mound, how are we not betting Seattle at plus money? What Boston is doing to right-handed starters is offensive. So I guess if I was to place a bet here, it would be over 8.5 or first 5 over. So you can put an over graphic up for me, Prop Beaver. It'd be over or Mariners, but this is not one of the ones I bet. Either you guys want to take it?
Yeah, I'll run with it quick. Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
You're the guest, Lindy.
Oh, no. I'll be quick then. Randy Arozarena is going to hit a homer, 3 hits over the weekend in his debut here for the Seattle Mariners. And we're starting to see him get away from some of these strikeout tendencies he had earlier in the season, down to 24.6% K rate. That's still above average, but that is well within the range for Randy Arozarena, who's continued to see the launch increase as well, now up to 13.8 degrees on the season. You get Fenway, which, for right-handed power, for any power really, but the wind blowing out to left doesn't exactly hurt my feelings. And plus 400 ended up being the prevailing number. I tapped this at plus 375 and it moved up. Tapped it again at plus 400. So hopefully you guys can join in on the fun with that one. First homer for Randy Arozarena in a Mariners jersey today.
Toast?
I'm on the Mariners. I'm on the Mariners money line. I bet it at plus 100. It's been up and down since then. But yeah, I'm going to take my shot with the Mariners. I 100% agree. I think there's a little bit of a newfound energy with this team. Not to mention the fact that I understand that the Mariners bats have been going, like Julio's not in the lineup and whatnot, but over the last 30 days, they're number 1 in WRC plus on the road, number 2 in OPS, number 1 in WOBA. The last 14 days, they're very good as well. Matter of fact, over the course of this season, the Mariners are a borderline top 10 lineup on the road. I understand that you can pick a lot of holes into that, but Sauce talked about it. I don't trust Pivetta at home at all. The Red Sox are coming off of a huge series with the Yankees. And yes, Kyle talked about the starters, the right-handed starters that Boston has got to. Yes, Stroman, Quantrill, Block, Singer, Lugo, Medina, Stone. I mean, again, those guys are all very good, but Logan Gilbert's better than all those guys. And we're getting Logan Gilbert off of a really bad start against LA where they had just seen him 5 days before that. I think we get pissed off Logan Gilbert tonight. I think we see 6-7 innings of decent ball from Logan Gilbert tonight. If he only gives up like 2-3 runs, I think that we win this game. Not to mention, I do think there's a heavy advantage in the Seattle bullpen. Boston has everybody rested and ready to go for the most part. I mean, but they worked a lot Friday and Saturday. Not to mention the fact that with Seattle adding Garcia, so you're going to have Munoz, Garcia, Santos, and Saucedo to follow Gilbert. I just couldn't pass that up at plus money.
Yeah, I mean, I think I get it. And like I said, I'd be leaning Seattle if I was taking a side also. I'm down to back Gilbert on the road against some good lineups, but I feel like what Boston has done to righty starters over the last 6 weeks is just a little different because we're seeing like prolonged, consistent slaughtering of righty starters. So I think if there's one spot where I wouldn't trust a Logan Gilbert or a righty like that who's been dealing, it would be in Fenway right now. So
yeah. That was beautifully said. My God.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I'm away with words. Next game. I sure don't. Minnesota Mets. All right, we got to finally a game I'm betting. And the reason for my bet is pretty simple here. I just think this number's off. I don't think we're talking about Twins Mets. Now I got it at around a pick 'em. I think I'm holding a minus 112 ticket for the Mets. So not that it's moved very far. I'm seeing minus 115s. You can put Mets money line up for me, Prop Beaver. So in my opinion, this price is just off. You're implying that right here, we're in Citi Field. You're implying that on a neutral field, the Twins would be like minus 120 favorites. And in Minnesota, they'd be like minus 140, minus 145 favorites. That's just off, in my opinion. If you go by the last 6 weeks, the Mets have been straight up the better team. And Quintana's been slightly better than Woods Richardson, if not just absolutely even. So I don't understand why the price is so close here. The Mets have been a better team than the Twins. Maybe not based on what was happening in April and May, but certainly over the last couple of months, the Mets have been the better team here with starting pitching matchup about even. And now that the Mets have all their bullpen pieces rested, we really haven't, remember, Diaz was suspended, then they added Maton. So we really don't know what this Mets bullpen is right now because we've seen such a mess of it. But now they're rested. Everyone's available. I don't even think the bullpen discrepancy is that serious here. I mean, I'd still probably take the Twins bullpen first, but not by much. So I just, this number's off in my opinion. I'm on the Mets.
I don't have a bet, so Lindy.
I don't have a bet either, but I'll at least just throw this out there that I think it's probably the right price to a certain extent, or I at least feel that way across the board for it. I mean, the Twins 120 WRC plus or 119 WRC plus here on the season against lefties. The Mets continue to ascend up the board, 110 WRC plus for them against righties, but overall just going to be a pass for me.
All right.
I would lean Twins or pass personally. It's just for me, I just don't know what to think of Jose Quintana, and he's been really, really good for a while for the Mets, but I just don't know how long that's going to last. And Simeon's one Richardson, say what you want about him, but he's been nothing but consistent. So if he goes out there and gives us another 6 innings, a 2-run baseball with everybody in that Minnesota bullpen.
Quintana's been consistent too, though.
No, I know. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying I don't know if I believe in that as much. So, I didn't bet the game. I'm just saying that's where my head was at. That's all.
All right, let's go to the next one. Texas, St. Louis. I bet this one too. This is probably my least favorite bet of the day, but I did bet it. I got the Cardinals at plus 104. Looks like I got a few cents of CLV here because I'm seeing minus 105s now. So getting closer to a pick 'em. So yeah, I got the Cardinals at plus 104. You know what? I don't have my notes open. So 1 second. So once you, did you bet this one?
Yeah, I'm on the Cardinals as well. I think that I think we're getting a decent price because of the starting pitching and the names of the starting pitchers. Nate Eovaldi, really on the road hasn't really been that good. He hasn't pitched a lot on the road. Excuse me. He had one start in Houston on the 13th where he pitched really, really well, and then back on the 26th, he pitched against Milwaukee where he didn't look good. But I think I wrote it down. It was over his last 13 starts. Only 3 of those starts have been on the road. I think there's a reason for that. I think Texas likes having him pitch at home. Not to mention the fact that Andre Palante, I mean, he's had a couple blowups, one against Cincinnati and against San Francisco, but over the last 7 starts, he's been really, really good on the road in Pittsburgh. I know that their offense is terrible, 6 innings, 1 run. At home against Cincinnati, 5 innings, no run. At home against Colorado, 5 innings, no run. And I understand you're like, well, those teams suck, but don't keep in mind that Texas is a bottom 5 offense on the road and against right-handed pitching, essentially all year as well. So they're not a lineup that worries me at all. Plus they're coming out of Toronto as well. I understand that Pittsburgh or the St. Louis lineup doesn't do much for you either. But at home at plus money, which I think that they have at least the starting pitching is at least a wash. And I'll take the St. Louis bullpen over the Rangers bullpen any day of the week. So yeah, I took St. Louis at plus money.
Yeah, and something you didn't mention is Palante's numbers against lefty bats.
I assume that was your whole spiel. So
not my whole spiel. Certainly an important part, though. Palante's got great numbers against lefties, as we know. Rangers are now there are only 5 lefties in the lineup. Earlier in the season, they were rocking with 6, but still mostly a lefty-heavy lineup. There's a couple dangerous righties, Simeon and Adolis Garcia, but Adolis Garcia's got like a 590 OPS in the last 30 days. You don't need to worry about him. Yeah, so there's just not. Palante's numbers, I wish I could put the splits on the screen, but I'll read them to you. Just these 2 numbers right here. Against lefties, 243 WOBA. Against righties, 368. So it's not even close. He's actually got excellent numbers against lefty bats, which consist of a lot of the main pieces in the Rangers lineup. So I think Palante, like Toe said, he's been good. I think he pitches well. And I think considering the fact that this game is in St. Louis, that the starting pitching matchup isn't nearly as significant as indicated. So I'm on the cards here.
Also, what I like about those lefty splits is that you have Seager, Smith, and Lowe has actually been really good for Texas over the last couple weeks or so, maybe a month in time. So that's really a positive. And Jonah Heim, you don't have to really worry about him because he doesn't hit righties very well. So yeah.
Lindy?
I'm probably going to end up joining you. My bet got voided because, of course, it did. Nolan Gorman, I was going to short to not get a hit here. We've seen him fall out of favor quite a bit. He's only been in the lineup like twice in the last week now.
Crazy.
But I thought he'd be 8-hole, but no, Matt Carpenter getting a start out of the middle of absolutely nowhere, batting 8th. So my bet ended up getting voided there. I was going to take under a hit for Nolan Gorman, who is just not very good up against fastball heavy Nathan Eovaldi. But I think I'm going to join you guys here. I do think the Cardinals look like the better side of this one. I looked through Texas, and Andre Palante, for me, it always just stands out to me. It's astounding. His ground ball rate, you got to get the ball on the ground if you're not going to miss bats at the big league level. And he does a very, very good job of it.
Cool. Cardinals, cards. Right, Prop Beaver?
That's right.
Next up.
Wilson Contreras also is a hitter prop. If anybody likes, I really like him today.
Next up is Royals, White Sox in Chicago. Not crazy about this bet, but I did. Well, you know what? I liked it a little more last night. The market moved against me. You can now get a 9.5. I took the under at 9. Flex, just very simple. Flexen, I think, is a little bit undervalued. He's kind of perceived as this complete trash starting pitcher, and he's really not that bad. I'm not sitting here and tell you Flexen's good. But it's really not that bad.
He's been good.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting together quality starts. Royals heading out on a road trip. We know season long, this lineup isn't nearly the same away from home. All I need from Flexen to stay under this number is give me a quality. Give me 5 2/3, 3 earned runs. I'll take that, and I think I cash it. Both these bullpens super rested. Every single arm's available. The White Sox, I mean, their offensive numbers are just on my charts. You've seen them. It's just red 30s everywhere. Like 30. Like dead last across the board. Like worst lineup at home, worst lineup against righties, worst lineup, period. So even though I'm not a huge believer in Alec Marsh, there's not a single starting pitcher in baseball that I would expect to get rocked by the White Sox right now. Just nobody, especially not a right-hander. So I think he should be fine. And I think this number is just way too high. With the White Sox lineup is the worst in baseball, and the Royals lineup heading out on a road trip against a pitcher that's undervalued, I think 9 is too high. But now you can get a 9.5. So the market has definitely moved against me here.
I'll just go really quickly just because I tailed Sauce. Sauce says I don't know what the number is, but between the Royals and the White Sox, he's been playing unders, it feels like, for months now, and it seems like he cashes 80% of the time. The only thing that I can also add is that these teams have played 10 times now this year, and they've went over the number 9 one time. I understand that you can't really put too much into that, but the fact is these guys don't score runs when these two teams play each other.
All right. Well, you're with me, Toast. Lindy, are you with us?
Lindy is the type of guy, if he was in prison, he'd be holding somebody's pocket with a banana tied around his head. What?
I don't know. That one I don't got.
That one I don't get. But anyway.
Trying to recreate the jokes that happened last time, and they're missing.
Yeah, it's just whiff. It's like, I don't know, the White Sox today. I love the Royals. This was my first bet yesterday, minus 164. I get that this is a price that some people just don't want to be clicking on, or they're going to parlay it or whatever. I don't care. Minus 164 was a joke. It's still minus 170 some spots, minus 175. I'd be fine with both of them. My whole thinking was that White Sox pieces were going to get moved. Well, there you go. Tommy Pham got moved. Michael Kopech gets moved. A lot of different pieces that you're going to see for teams today, tomorrow. We just saw with Justin Turner here. If you can get the right teams, I think just you can find some really nice prices early in the day. So last night, Kansas City, that was the first click I had, just assuming that we might see a piece or two depart. Got 2 of them, 2 kind of key pieces. Obviously a closer, or once upon a time, one of the better closers in baseball, Michael Kopech. Could never make it work as a starter, but Tommy Pham being out, you're going to put, Nicky Lopez here probably leading off more than likely. That's who I have projected for it. I think this is.
I think they're going to go Robert Benintendi.
I think Robert, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious because if it's going to be laughable, however it rolls out, because it's just not going to look good. Brooks Baldwin, Corey Lee. Corey Lee's like the 4th prospect for the White Sox organization. Hasn't necessarily been there this year for him at the big league level, but Kansas City, I just thought this was a bad price going up against a team with tons of trade risk, and it's already come to fruition.
All right. I can't say I disagree with the Royals winning this game, so I don't
had Royals minus 1.5 circled. I just didn't bet it yet.
Yeah, minus 105, I think, was the number there. I took a look at it. I didn't pull the trigger twice on it. I would be okay with that one too, though, to be honest.
All right, next up.
CLV Kings.
CLV Kings at it again. We should start a series, CLV Kings. So if you don't know what we're referring to, me and Toast got the Astros at plus 135. And then I think everyone in the Discord got it too. We're all collectively on the Astros here, plus 135. By no means are we saying like Skeens sucks or anything like that. It's just the market surrounding Skeens is clearly inflated. Last night the Pirates are close to a minus 160 favorite on the road in Houston. It's just absurd. So it was just a pure play on the number. I'm seeing plus 110s now, not nearly as alluring. I probably would still bet it at plus 110, but I certainly wouldn't be as big on it. I really like my bet at the plus 140, plus 135. I think it's great value. The much better team at home at plus 135 is crazy. So yeah, I'm on Houston at plus 135. I'd still bet it at plus 110, but it'll be a little, the confidence level is definitely lower.
Yeah, the only thing that I can really add to that is like, I understand that when you see Jake Bloss, and he's not a guy that you're running to the window to back, especially if you're like, oh, I wonder what he did the last time he pitched. Oh, he gave up 5 runs and 6 hits and four innings to Oakland. Keep in mind, Oakland is extremely hot right now. It doesn't matter if it's lefties or righties. Oakland is scoring runs on everybody right now, it seems like. And his previous 2 starts before that, he went 3 2/3 against Baltimore, gave up 2 runs. He went 4 innings against Miami and gets 2 runs. My point to all of that being is that Pittsburgh is not a team that I worry about the bats. I understand they scored 6 runs last night, and I think 4 or 5 of them came in the 9th and the 10th inning. And then on Saturday night, wasn't it the same, close to the same thing? They scored their runs late, or yeah, they had 1 inning where they scored 3 runs. Besides that, they didn't do anything. This Pirates offense doesn't scare me at all. So I understand that Paul Skeens is very, very good. And if he pitches another 8 1/3 innings, so be it. But the fact that he just pitched 8 1/3 probably tells me that we're probably not going to see him for that long today. So that's just my personal opinion. We'll see. But yeah, I'm on the Astros.
Is Lindy looking blurry on your screen, Toast? He looks blurry, right? Yeah, Lindy, I don't know what's over your feet. Can you leave and come back? Because you're looking blurry, and then when you try to talk, it sounds like broken up. It seems like your feed is broken up. So yeah, we agree there. Damn it, I want to hear what Lindy thinks about this game. I don't want to move on. Is it in your feed, Prop Beaver? Is he still there? Is he blurry? So it looks like he just left. So hopefully he's coming right back in. I don't want to skip this game because this is my biggest bet. So I want to hear what Lindy thinks.
Damn, this is probably the best game of the day besides maybe the Yankees game, right?
Now the Yankees game is like, as far as baseball wise, Yankees Phillies. Yes. Phillies with Wheeler. That's the best game of the day. Let's give it about 5 more minutes. I think he was like windsurfing or something yesterday. So maybe he's on vacation or something. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We can just flip back. Braves Brew Crew.
Where's Lindy from? The East or the West Coast? Do you know? Anyway, Braves Brew Crew.
I'm not good with stuff like that, man.
Me neither.
I don't even know where Prop Beaver lives. He comes here every day. Braves Brewers in Milwaukee. What, did I skip over this game? Why did I skip this game?
Probably because Grant Holmes is pitching for the Braves.
That's exactly why. So yeah, I didn't even look at this game because there's a man named Grant Holmes pitching, and I don't know who in the hell that is. So didn't look at the game at all. Braves look good in the Mets series, but that's pretty on brand for the Braves, dating back dozens of years. The Braves could look like shit. They still find a way to show up and give the Mets, be a pain in the ass for the Mets. That's just the Atlanta Braves way. So I wouldn't take a good series against the Mets as, oh, the Braves bats are back, because it's the Braves Mets. It's a rivalry. They just show up for that kind of shit. I'm not saying the Braves bats aren't back. I'm just saying that series against the Mets, I don't think that would be a great indication. So yeah, I don't really know. I guess Colin Ray having a really good season, or by Colin Ray standards, a really good season. Pitched some really good games at home in Milwaukee. Braves, before that Mets series, weren't hitting righty starters. So maybe Colin Ray pitches a good game, and you get the Brewers at home at a nice price. But I don't know who Gavin Holmes is. I'm assuming Toast is about to tell us who he is.
He's like a reliever. He's pitched a little bit up and out of the bullpen this year for them, but he's like a minor league guy. So I mean, not much to go on. He was a 1st-round pick from the Dodgers, like a long time ago, probably like 10 years ago. But he was
not even young.
No, he's not. He was a first. I mean, I don't know exactly how old
28,
he is. But
28. So he's not old.
Yeah, but he was a 1st-round pick. I mean, so there was talent there. Again, I'm not. I don't know, but he's pitched a little bit. So, again, I just don't know. The price just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I understand that Colin Ray, I mean, he's, again, not a guy I like to say you're running to back towards the window, but I mean, he had a blow up against Pittsburgh. He had a blow up against the Padres, but besides that, he's been pretty damn consistent for Milwaukee. I mean, Milwaukee's 14-6 when he pitches this year. So I mean, I used to make a joke earlier in the season that it was win day when Colin Ray pitched for Milwaukee, and it's kind of played out that way. I mean, 14-6. He's not 14-6. He's 9-3. But when he pitches, the Brewers are 14-6. So Brewers coming off an embarrassing series against Miami, where they lost 2 out of 3. They finally came back and did something yesterday. So I would assume that the spot and number say Brewers, but I mean, it seems a little bit short to me. It seems like they really want you to bet the Brewers. So everybody,
I don't know about that, because the Braves are still regarded as a really good team and a great series where they put up some runs against the Mets. I think
that's the case. Then the Brewers are.
I think the price looks right to me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not going to bet the Brewers. They're going to win 4-1, and I'm going to be pissed off. That's how.
Yeah, I would go Brewers or pass. Let's go to the next game. I didn't bet this one, but I know you were talking about it last night.
I did bet it. I bet it. Yeah. Washington team total over 3.5 for me. That's how I did it. It's minus 130 on that BetMGM, 140 on some other piece on some other places. But I understand, first of all, I understand that Jordan Montgomery is starting to pitch better. I will give you that. There's no question about that. His last start on the road in Kansas City, 5 innings, 1 run. He had another start on the road in Philadelphia where he went 6 innings, only gave up 2. My issue is that at home, he hasn't faced some very good competition, and he hasn't been very good at home. He just got absolutely annihilated by the Twins. So let's just pretend like you want to say that the Twins are a decent offense. That's fine, cool. But he looked decent against the White Sox, and then like the one start all year that he looked good, and we all know everybody seems to look good against the White Sox. The Angels got 3 off of him in 5 2/3. San Francisco put 6 off of him as well. And now he's going to be facing a Washington lineup where that's going to have, let's count them just to make sure I don't get the number right. 1, 2, 3, 4 lefties in the lineup. Obviously not great, but I mean, he really struggles with lefties, and the righties in that lineup with Lane Thomas and Yepes. I mean, Yepes started to do something the other night. I just felt like 3.5 is a little small, not to mention the fact that when we get towards the end of this ball game, the Arizona bullpen, I don't even know what to think of them. Sewell's a shell of himself right now. Ryan Thompson didn't look good the other night. I mean, Kevin Ginkel's really good. I'll give him that. But, I mean, if A.J. Puck comes into this game, I'm not really worried about it. So I just think there's too many avenues for the Nationals to score 4 runs here. So I took Washington team total over 3.5.
Well, I mean, I do like – because I was considering over 9. You can put an over up for me, please, Prop Beaver. I was considering an over here, but you guys know I won't bet a total in this ballpark because I'm cursed. But I think it should go over. Montgomery's been so unreliable, like Toast talked about, and he already talked about why the Nationals should score some runs, and I agree with a lot of it. Although I think Winker was an important part of that offense. I don't know.
Yeah, he was very good. There's no question about that. Mets, yes, he was very good.
So I expect Montgomery to give up runs because he's just been very unreliable. And then on the other side, Mitchell Parker, I don't really know. I don't trust him. So, but on the road in Arizona is a really tough place to pitch for righty, lefty, anybody. And then look at these 2 bullpens. Like Toast mentioned, he mentioned how the Arizona bullpen is in a situation here, and he's right. Sewell, 2 of the last 3. Thompson, 2 of the last 3. Puck, 2 in a row. Ginkel, 2 of the last 3. Martinez, 2 in a row. Jarvis, 2 in a row. This bullpen is really taxed. And then when you look over to what, because I saw that and I was like, oh, dude, I might bet the Nats here. But then you look at the Nats bullpen, it's like the same shit. So
that's why I did,
Yeah, both these bullpens are taxed, so it would be over or pass for me here.
And if you like Arizona, I can understand that. Arizona's been really, really good. Arizona bats the last 30 days are number 3 in Major League Baseball. And with Mitchell Parker on the mound, you're going to see about 50% fastballs. Arizona's the best team on the last 30 days and the whole year hitting fastballs. So Arizona should put up some runs on Mitchell Parker.
He doesn't play for Boston. All right. Community parlay. Hit him with the song.
Community parlay. The parlay. We back. Yeah, come in for the community. We coming nice. Making like yeah.
Smash it. Oh, put Toast back on the screen.
I was trying to do, hey, Miss Parker from Friday.
Why do you keep cutting Toast? Toast is talking. Well, he was talking.
It's okay.
All right. So anyway, you ready for the polls? All right. Phillies, Guardians, Reds, Red Sox. Cast your votes. Man, 25 cents of CLV on the Astros.
Dude, Royce Lewis has a 37.5 barrel percentage against the Quintana pitch mix.
Good Lord.
It's a small sample. Plus, he only hits home runs, but yeah. If only he could stay healthy.
All right, next after the community parlay, we're doing the Buffalo Bills. Then we got 5 Conference USA teams. And we have Andy and Scoop coming on. Who won the first poll? Phillies? All right. Next up is Mets money line. Oh, actually, I think they voted the Twins on that. It was like split even. Put the Mets on there. That poll was really close. A lot of people like the Twins. Cardinals, Royals, and Pirates. People like their Skeens.
Yes, son, you can come down here.
Yes, son. Yes, son.
It's just a habit. Only you make me feel self-conscious about it.
Yes, son. Is that Royals winning? Royals blow like landslide here. So the only 2 games left are Brewers money line and Diamondbacks. There's Lindy. He's back. We
want to know where you.
Yeah, while they're voting, we need Lindy to tell us what he thinks of the Astros game.
Yeah.
I was like, we both bet Houston. Yeah, hold on. Let's get you on the screen first. They can't see you yet. Hold on. Because me and Toast both bet the Astros, and we're like, Lindy, what do you think? And Lindy was frozen.
Router didn't need to be plugged in anymore because that's an important thing that she needs to do. She's like, I thought your show was at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
So I thought I'd unplug the router.
Text me. I'm right here. Whatever.
So you said you lean towards the under in the Skeens game.
Under 7.5. I have no play on it. I thought about 18.5 outs for Skeens and getting plus money on that. 4 of his last 5, the guy's on another planet, but I think it'd probably be Houston money line or pass or something. Like, I hate the entire game, if we're being honest. Like, I don't want to bet against Skeens, and I think some of the numbers are inflated now at this point in time for like one of the best pitchers ever. It's like some of those Jacob deGrom starts from a couple years ago where it's just like, what do I do with a 9.5 and a 10.5 strikeout prop in some of these spots? I think a 7.5 here against Houston, one of the better lineup 6.5s that exist in a couple of spots too. Major minus money for it. Everything feels so trappy in this game.
Cool. And I said in the last game, Toast took Nats team total over. I said I was leaning over 9 or pass. That's Nats Diamondbacks. Did you have anything there?
One, Yapez dispenser. Let's fire that one up for the people. 1.5 total bases, plus 135 there. Maybe starting to figure it out here for the first time in his big league career. I said that on the man too, yeah. I think one of the hard things to evaluate when it comes to baseball is like figuring out what's a hot streak for a certain specific player or like what their baseline is. Juan Yepez was pretty well regarded coming up. St. Louis cut bait, and now here he is with Washington. But like the talent, I think, is there. I like what he's been doing. I don't know if it's but plus 135 at a big ballpark against Jordan Montgomery. This version of Jordan Montgomery, I just got to pull the trigger on that.
He's got that power where he can hit it to the big parts of the ballpark, and that ball just flies too.
Chase Field, massive real estate.
That home run that he hit against the Padres was impressive.
Did we get the last one? Okay. Sorry, I'm sending the invite. I forgot to send invites to Scoop and Andy. They're probably sitting there like, how am I supposed to join? Just sent it. So, all right, what's the community parlay? It is Mets, Phillies, Guardians, Brewers. Can I get an odds on that? Comments, Toast, somebody.
Oh, I thought he had it up. That's why I erased it. I thought he wrote 7 something.
Did he? I didn't see it.
Brewers. Well, I hope the Brewers loses. I've got Atlanta.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I forgot. We skipped that because I passed on that game, so I forgot about that. You like the Braves?
Just fine. I do like the Braves. I think this is like a lineup that, say what you want, it's still stacked at the top of this thing. I refuse to believe that this is going to be a terrible, terrible offense going forward. So give me Atlanta here against Milwaukee. Colin Ray, I don't understand. He can't keep getting away with it. J.C. Pinkman style.
7:30.
All right. So real quick, Lindy, before we head on over to football, I want to tell, I'm sure people know where to find your stuff, but for those of you watching who don't know, I want to tell them where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, hop over to Odd Shopper, guys. Just fantastic stuff week in, week out. Looking forward to talking some NFL here very, very shortly with the people as well. But Lindy's Leans Likes Locks every single Monday through Friday in the NBA, MLB, NFL, good stuff.
Andy, I think, is breathing into his mic, and
he's so excited right now.
Make an entrance, baby.
Oh shit! All right, let's flip it over to football.
I'll be in the comments talking shit.
Hi, gentlemen.
Andy's like dead ass close to the mic. All right, I'm gonna put Scoop and Andy on so that I can go piss real quick.
Can I go?
Yeah, they're yeah.
Okay.
Go,
I just didn't want to leave and then screw something up.
No, we're good. Yeah, they want to be on for if they want to be on. Do you guys want to be on for the Bills? So, Scoop, I think you're muted. Oh. Who cares? All right, no matter what, we'll run through the Bills quick. They're just going to sit there and wait, though. If they want to be in it, it's 3 people. Hit the eyeball next to 2 people. Yeah, so now switch the names over to Scoop and Andy. We'll talk Buffalo Bills. He said he didn't realize that I'd want such amateurs on. Nah, you guys get the blame. Hold on, it probably was bringing you guys on the screen. Rusty. Oh yeah, you were jamming out.
So
yeah, that community parlay song's a good tune. I didn't put your name as that, Andy. That wasn't me.
I didn't. Oh my god.
All right, I'm gonna take a piss and we'll get started.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
Good to be back, isn't it? It's been forever.
Yeah, I missed you, man.
Oh, I missed you too.
We don't have Toast here though to yell at.
I know. We don't have Toast to give us the points are at a premium and tell us all that. We don't.
Right. Yeah, points at a premium. We don't get to hear him singing the Auburn songs.
Oh, welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle. It's really sad.
Did you see Rutgers posted? Rutgers actually posted their non-conference schedule for basketball today, and I laughed out loud when I read it. They play 1 game or 2 games out of the state of New Jersey in non-conference play.
Yeah, they're smart. They know what they're doing. Just get 20 and you're good.
They should get way more than 20. Should win almost 25 this year. One of the best
the
rosters in the country.
They got the number. Yeah, well, they got the top 2 of the top 5 recruits this year.
Gonna be good in college and football too. So
I don't believe that until
Khalid Manis. That I can't wait. I will be I know Kyle's excited to do that when we do the Big Ten, really, because I think that might be his favorite conference. He's very excited to talk Rutgers ball. Who isn't? I mean,
Rutgers ball. Rutgers. Yeah, that's all you got to do is Rutgers ball.
All right, let's talk Buffalo Bills. All right, so where should we start? Let's start with the roster changes, right? I think Prop Beaver already has it up on the screen. 1 second. Let me pull it up so I can see it on my screen as well, so I'm not just speaking blindly. The first thing that I think needs to be pointed out here when it comes to the Bills roster changes is their defense should be fine. And I know that sounds a little crazy because you're looking at the subtractions here. Dotson coming off an awesome year. Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. There's some serious names that are gone from this defense. But keep in mind, this McDermott defense showed us last year that it's a little bit plug and play as far as next man up. And also keep in mind, all right, they lost Dotson. Well, they got Milano back. He missed majority of last season with an injury. So they lost Dotson. They get Milano.
When Milano's back, he makes the whole team run pretty much. So
yeah, so Milano's back there instead of Dotson. Also, Tre'Davious White, I mean, he misses so many games every single year anyway. And that defense is fine. Poyer, they lost. Obviously, Poyer and Micah Hyde is significant, but they got that kid Benford in the secondary. They also got that guy from the Chiefs, Edwards. They got the starting safety played the entire season for the Super Bowl champions. So I believe in this McDermott defense, and I think it's going to be top 5, top 10 yet again, because I believe in what McDermott does, and they still have a lot of talent. They probably still have the best defensive line in football. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, their defensive line. I mean, I agree. Their defensive run, their run game on the defensive side should be good. The passing, I don't know if they can get to the quarterback as much, but like you were saying, with the corners, they still have Teron Johnson, Rasul Douglas. They're still 2 quality corners. Even though they lost Tre'Davious White, Jordan Phillips, Shaq Larson, Leonard Floyd. I mean, you still have a bunch of good players that are going to fill in. So Cole Bishop's going to have an impact as a rookie in the secondary, I think. He was decent at Utah. He made the second team All Pac-12 last year. I mean, it's definitely it's going to be a big transition, especially if you're talking about the offense. I'm more worried about the offensive side than the defensive side, personally.
Yeah. I had Prop Beaver scroll down and put on the pass rush numbers because Scoop mentioned the pass rush briefly. They look okay. I mean, 6th in pressure rates, 3rd in adjusted sack rate. Maybe this year a little bit of a drop off. Andy?
Yeah, I was definitely going to say what he just said about drafting Cole Bishop. That replaces the 2 safeties who were, let's be honest, they were older anyway. They were both hurt all the time anyway, Hyde and Poyer. And then I know we haven't gotten to the offense yet. Obviously, I thought they replaced the offense pretty well. I thought they did a good job there. But yeah, I expect them to still be a great defense. Like you said, McDermott, I trust him. I'll believe that he's going to have a bad defense when he has one. I don't see it yet, so I don't believe they're going to be bad on that side. I know a lot of people are worried about this team overall just dropping off. I don't see it. They need to prove that to me because they're pretty damn consistent recently. So I trust their coaching staff enough.
Yeah, I mean, plus Joe Brady's going to have his first full year now as offense coordinator.
Joe Brady.
I mean, they're going to probably let James cook now. Finally, even though they run a spread offense, they need to relieve some of the pressure from.
I'm not sure how I feel about Joe Brady though, but one last. Okay, so we'll move on to the offense. But first, I want to mention that look on paper they brought in a new DC, right? The guy Bobby Babich or whatever, but he's not new. He's been with McDermott forever. In fact, he was with them on the Panthers back in like 2012. So that they coached together on the Panthers, and they went their separate ways. And then when McDermott got the Bills job, he brought that guy Babich in to be like a defensive assistant or something. So yeah, they have a new defensive coordinator this year, but it's not a new defensive coordinator. It's still going to be McDermott's defense. So all that to say, I know you see a lot of really huge names, big names with nice looking Madden ratings leaving the Bills defense, but I expect that defense to be just fine. But now Scoop mentioned Joe Brady. So let's talk about the offense. And Prop Beaver was kind of calling bullshit on the Bills offense a little bit.
Well, he's a Jets fan, so
I know. Is it a homer statement though? he is a Jets fan. He's usually pretty objective, and he's actually a pretty negative Jets fan.
Yeah, he definitely is.
So, all right, like Scoop said, Joe Brady takes over the offense. What was that, week 9 or 10? Joe Brady took over?
Somewhere around there.
Week 11. So what a lot of people saw was Joe Brady takes over as OC. Then the Bills start winning some games, and they beat some good teams. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the shit out of the Cowboys. They almost beat the Eagles. I think that was in Philly on Thursday night, like on prime time. They looked awesome. So Joe Brady takes over the offense, and what on the surface, it looks like the team was saved almost. But if you actually look at the efficiency numbers, the offense really didn't get much better, if at all. In fact, it seems like what they did. Can you show up this is the rushing. Okay, so you can see the yards per carry number actually went down. The yards per game went up. They ran the ball a shitload more. Look at rushing attempts per game. They were running the shit out of the ball. And the reason it wasn't so much the efficiency that was working. Go to the time of possession one. Is that time of possession? Okay, cool. So now look at the time of possession. This is where it helped. Is they held on to the ball more, which helped out their defense because their defense is the bigger story. Check this out. Go to the defensive one. EPA per play. So the Bills had all those injuries, right? But look at the second half. Look what happened to the defense when Joe Brady took over. Insane. One of the best defenses in football despite having all those injuries. So what Joe Brady did was hold on to the ball a little more and hook it up for their defense. Also, there's probably a little bit thrown in there that McDermott just needed a few weeks with all the injuries to get his new pieces in there and working. So the defense looked great. I don't know, though, the efficiency numbers for the offense. You guys are believers in Joe Brady?
I've always been. Yes, I've always thought when he's given enough talent, and I know he showed it when he was in college more than anything than in the NFL. When he has talent, he knows how to call an offense. And I think I thought, and I might be only one here, I think their offense is going to run smoother this year. They now don't have a star receiver that they have to worry about.
Bieber's pissed.
Of course he's pissed. I'm not a star. Look, I think a lot of offenses run smoother when they don't have star receivers. I don't think Keon Coleman's coming in and acting as if he's a star receiver. I don't think any of those guys are acting like. Now I think the ball will be spread out there more. I thought they added Ray Davis from Kentucky. That was huge to spell James Cook. That's a great guy to have as your second back. I know he has a lot of mileage on those tires because he was run like crazy last year at Kentucky. I remember, I think there was one game he carried the ball 25 times, had like 200 yards or something like that against Florida. He ran a lot in college, but I think he'll be a good secondary back for them. So I think their offense is gonna move smooth, and I think with that type of style, I think Joe Brady will be very successful.
Yeah, I don't mind Joe Brady. I think Joe Brady's a good offensive coordinator. I just don't know about their wide receiver depth, to be honest. I mean, you got Curtis Samuel, who's okay. I think Chase Claypool is a clown. He's garbage. I don't like him on any team. Valdez-Scantling's hit or miss most of the time, and Mac Hollins just doesn't matter. So, I mean, it's a good opportunity to get Keon Coleman right in there and making some plays as a rookie. I mean, he's funny as hell, too. I love that guy. It'll definitely be different. It's certainly going to be worse, I think, in terms of Josh Allen's numbers. But I'd imagine Kincaid is going to get a ton of targets this year. And Dawson Knox is always reliable, too. So, I like their defense a hell of a lot more than their offense, personally.
Well, okay. Here's the thing with what Andy was just talking about with Joe Brady, and he thinks the offense will run smoothly. Was James Cook's success in the second half of the season, was that predicated on the necessity for opposing defenses to make sure they had two safeties deep at all times for Diggs and Gabe Davis? And if those guys are no longer there, I feel like that makes stopping James Cook and Joe Brady's run-first offense a hell of a lot easier, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point. I think that would be a good way to kind of be anti this offense, is if they don't have a running game and if it's not consistent enough, then yeah, they will struggle. I personally think they have a good enough running game and a decent enough O-line to make things happen at that spot that it'll open up the passing game.
Well,
but you make a great point when they don't have to worry.
Pull up their blocking numbers. So it's on the spreadsheet. It's
They didn't draft anybody, so clearly they're okay with it. They drafted a center at the Yeah, an OT in the 6th and 7th round. So clearly they didn't feel like it was that big of a need.
Yeah.
Okay, so Prop Beaver's getting the blocking numbers up. So,
I mean,
adjusted sack rate first. And yeah, I saw that because I know Josh Allen's pressure to sack rate is first. That's on the right side. You can see under his face there on the right. Never mind. You scroll down go up to the offensive line.
They're run blocking first and ALY.
So the offensive line. Did they lose any pieces off the offensive line?
They lost their center, Morse. Oh no, they lost. Yeah, they lost
Ryan
Morse
Bates.
and Bates. Yeah.
So they lost 2 centers.
Yeah. But they only drafted guys late in the draft, so clearly they felt like they had the depth to not make that a necessity in the draft. I would guess that that's their strategy. Otherwise, it's just a terrible draft to not worry about any offensive linemen in the first 5 rounds. So
yeah, they signed like Will Clapp too. I mean, and Lyle Collins they signed too. So I mean, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, Lyle Collins. All right, so real quick before we go on to the college football, if you had to pick over 10.5 wins, under 10.5 wins, go. Someone.
I'll go over. I'll say over.
Did you even look at their schedule? They play at Baltimore, at Houston, at Seattle.
You know how I feel about Houston.
Jesus.
I think they are the biggest regression candidate in
Kansas City, San Francisco, at Rams. Oh, you put it up? There's no way they're winning 11 games. This is
Yeah, it's definitely a year of transition. Books still have it at 10.5, but they're still tied for 6th in odds in Super Bowl, plus 1,500. Josh Allen's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, even though he makes some dumbass plays sometimes. He's still the best quarterback in the division. I think writing them off is crazy.
So they're starting 3-0.
Plus, did you know in the last 3 years,
a loss, bro.
In the last 3 years, the Bills haven't lost a game by more than 6 points. In 3 years, they haven't lost by more than 6 points. That's nuts. Plus, playing at home since 2020, they have the best winning best winning record, 79.4%, best in the league. It's hard to play there during the winter, and that division, I don't know. I don't really trust the Dolphins. I think they're gonna have a down year. So yeah, I like the Bills over.
Yeah, they get home games against KC and San Francisco late, like he said. That's big. Not playing those games on the road.
That's still 2 losses. Actually, they have a bye.
Nah, they're gonna beat the Chiefs.
I mean. Are we gonna? The Chiefs don't always
at Jets. That's a loss.
All right. All right.
Nah, I'm putting under up, but minus 155. There's no way this makes my top 5. Like,
yeah, it's rough.
All right,
it's definitely a team that it's probably the toughest team in that division. I think to predict. I think the Jets are more predictable than them.
You guys both picked over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Prop Beaver's going to put it up. We'll put it up on the screen. Then we'll move on to the Florida International Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
This year
I'm
will be known
seem negative as hell today with some of these teams.
Well, it's Conference USA, so really, how can you be really positive?
Fair. I think there is the conference favorite we are going through today. That is. But I don't necessarily think they should be the conference favorite, so I'm going to seem very negative.
Yes, they should.
Well, Liberty, all right. On paper, yes. On paper, yes, they should be the conference favorite. I don't think they're going to win the conference.
Who do you got? Kennesaw State?
Do I have Kennesaw State winning the conference? Yeah.
We'll get to it. Let's go on to the college football first. All right, FIU. 4.5 wins. Now, FIU brings back the same exact coaching staff, correct?
Yes.
Same exact coaching staff. Also, did you guys see a couple pass rushers in the portal?
Yeah.
Couple pass rushers in the portal.
They had one of the better portal hauls of a team in the Conference USA, I would say. They did do a very good job getting Walls. I thought that was great. And like you said, same coaching staff that has gone 4-8 each of the last 2 seasons. So that's something. They were 1-7 in conference play last year. They are, and I will give them credit. They are preseason ranked 8th in the conference. That's pretty solid for a team that's gone 4-8 the past 2 seasons. So I think they are room for improvement because of their additions, definitely. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else had any general thoughts.
Yeah, I have a few. It's not so much. All right, go ahead, Scoop.
No, I think I mean, you were saying he's 4-8. I know. I mean, but he's a great recruiter. I mean, if you saw his past with Colorado and San Jose State, Matt McIntyre, it takes a couple years for them to improve. They both did in the third year for Colorado and San Jose. Third year at FIU, they have 14 returning starters. Their quarterback's going to be one of the best in the league this year. Keon Jenkins, he committed to Auburn. Now he's here. Anytime you get an Auburn recruit, even though he, got discarded, it's fine. He's a great QB, and him under center the whole year is going to be huge for them. And not only that, they, like you said, they got Giovanni Davis, a lineman from in the portal. They got what's his name?
Naz Burris.
Yeah.
I think we're going to start with defenses, but I definitely have a lot of thoughts on their offense. Let's do their defense first.
Well, first scroll down to returning production, please, Prop Beaver. Just 2 graphics down. Let's get that on the screen. Returning production is favorable for FIU. They're 34th in the country in returning production, 20th offensively, 69th defensively. They're bringing back 14 starters, 8 on the offensive side of the ball, including the quarterback, Jenkins, who
he's going to be good.
I don't know about good, but
he's going to be good.
He has nice looking. Okay, here's what I'll say about Jenkins. His numbers look a lot better than how he looked on screen. Because if you look at his numbers, they'd be like, oh, this freshman was slinging it. And then you watch the game and it's like, oh, this kid can't really throw the ball. Yeah. But he was putting up some numbers and he took over the job mid-season. It was only like week 2 or 3, but there was a brief period there. You probably want to scroll down to the game, the 2023 season. It's like all the way at the bottom. So they can see the games, because I'll show them exactly what game they're talking about here. It was that game. Well, he played the FCS game against Maine, but then North Texas, they beat North Texas. They were like 10.5-point dogs in that game, and then they went on the road and beat UConn.
Yeah, they started off really well, and then
so the first 3. So this freshman Jenkins takes over at quarterback, and FIU was 3-0 with him. They were 3-1, but he didn't play against Louisiana Tech. So they were 3-0 with this freshman. And then, shit got ugly. I mean, they saw Liberty. Liberty was a steamroller last year.
So New Mexico State, too.
On the road in New Mexico State. And that UTEP game is deceiving. It says 27-14 they lost. The UTEP quarterback, both of them were ruled out. You remember that game, Andy? And
that was a weird one.
UTEP put in their 4th-string quarterback, so I'm assuming FIU game plan to stop the run, and he came out was throwing bombs in the first quarter.
That's what's his name? The Cade McDonald, right?
Yeah, he's the starter.
I remember that. Yeah,
he came in. He was the 4th-string quarterback. He came in and threw 3 touchdown passes in the first quarter, and they were like bombs. So I think that if you take away that first quarter, that was just weird. That game, 27-14, it doesn't even look like that. So I think that's deceiving too. I like FIU this year. I'm considering over 4.5 wins, honestly.
I think the offense is interesting because, like you said, I was in lockstep with you. He looked better than he actually was. Like, the numbers look better. He threw for over 2,000 yards or whatever. But I think part of that, and I think you have to look at subtractions as well. They're FIU, so you knew they were going to lose their number 1 receiver. The number 1 receiver had 1,100 yards. Mitchell, he went to Notre Dame. They had their next highest receiver, and he's coming back, had 400, so they're going to need him to step up. They brought in a receiver, but it's a guy from Stetson. You never really know how a receiver from an FCS school is actually going to translate coming into the FBS, because you have no idea what they were facing in terms of secondaries at Stetson. So I think he looked better than he was, is the way that I would also put it. I think he'll be fine. I don't know if I'd categorize him as a top tier in the conference. He'll be solid. I just don't know if they have enough weapons around him for him to make a leap that they're a significantly better team. I mean, you're looking at a team that's been consistently 4-8, and you want them to jump that, and you include the fact that they have a pretty, I think, difficult. I mean, it's not an easy schedule under any circumstance. It's not hard, but it's definitely not winnable. They don't have any FCS games that you're like, oh, that's an easy one.
Well, I think there's a couple games on their schedule. Can you pull up their schedule, please, Prop Beaver? There's a couple games on their schedule that I don't think people realize are winnable. First of all, at home against New Mexico State, that's winnable. New Mexico State lost everybody. They're 128th in returning production. 128. New Mexico State's going to be gutted. So a home game against New Mexico State. What does New Mexico State even look like without Pavia, without 4 offensive linemen, without 8 offensive starters on defense? What do they even look like? I actually think it's 6 offensive. 8. They lost 8 defensive starters. I was right. So they lost 8 defensive starters. Diego Pavia is on Vanderbilt now. So what is this? I don't. New Mexico State at home, that's winnable. In fact, I FIU money line. Let me take it right now.
They have a couple of games where they're gonna probably beat Monmouth. They're definitely gonna beat
probably
Monmouth.
gonna beat Monmouth.
They're definitely gonna beat Monmouth. They'll beat them. I like the New Mexico State one. When I was going through all these teams. Yeah, when I was going through all these team schedules, New Mexico State was the one that clicked to me. Like, the team's going to be awful compared to what they were. Like, Pavia and those guys that they lost, they were everything to them. So they're going to be a huge drop-off team. New coaching staff, I believe, there too.
They'll win one of Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State. They'll win one of those road games.
Yes,
probably Kennesaw.
We're going to talk about Kennesaw.
Jacksonville State. I don't like this year though.
Yeah, we're going to talk. I have them losing to Jacksonville State, but I don't think I have Kennesaw State. We'll talk about them. They're going to be awful.
I mean, yeah, Andy said it pretty much. I mean, last year, like Kyle said, they upset UConn, they upset North Texas. I know it's UConn and North Texas, but
UConn's not an upset. UConn,
but that's huge for the program, though. I mean, FIU has been 9-32 the last 4 years. So I mean, I really think they have a shot at a bowl this year, probably finishing in the 6-6 range. I mean, right now Conference USA is just not that good. I mean, I know they're improving, but they're going to be favored by more than two games this year. They were only favored by 2 all of last year. They have the 127th hardest schedule out of 134. So. I mean, I know FIU's not good. I'm not trying to hype them up, but I'm just saying they have 8 returning starters on offense, and with McIntyre's third year, he can actually get his recruits going. So it's going to be an improvement. I think Jenkins is going to have a top 3 QB stat-wise in the conference. So.
Stat-wise, maybe.
The
film won't look great.
Their defense needs to not. Their defense was pretty decent for the first. Like, obviously, their schedule got tougher. Pretty decent. They give up 41.5 points per game the final 4 games of the year. On average, they can't do that again, and their schedule is going to get pretty tough again. They're going to have the Jacksonville State game, which we don't know. They're going to play Middle Tennessee late in the season. That Liberty game is obviously going to be very tough. So they're going to have a lot of quarterbacks that they're going to have to stop. They can't do what they did last year defensively. They fell off a cliff last year, so they're probably going to start 0-3 as well. So that they're going to have to bounce back from that. But I think they will win 5 games. I'd lean more on winning 5 games than I'd go winning 4. I think there will be some tight ones.
Agreed. Can you do live win totals live throughout the season? Because maybe wait till they go 0-3 and then take it to over 3.5.
I think you can. I think you can. Yeah, they're starting 0-3 though. I mean, Indiana. I will say you're gonna hear me probably. You're gonna hear me week 1, and you're gonna. I'm probably gonna try to talk you into taking them to cover the spread against Indiana because Indiana's gonna be awful to me. But that will be. I don't know if that game's out. Some games are. Obviously, a lot of games are. But I would guess that spread's like in the
20.5.
20. Yeah, I'll probably take FIU in that one.
Nah. All right, let's go on to Jacksonville State.
Probably being on Indiana, on FIU there.
All right, Gamecock time.
Oh boy.
So under. Give me under 8 right now. I think this team's going to be bad. First of all, I think there was a little bit of a Cinderella situation going on last year. They looked so good when they start 7-0. They lost a lot of production, 103rd in returning production. Lost 7 of their 11 defensive starters, which if you watch Jacksonville State football last year, that was the heart and soul of the team, was the defense. The offense, they run the ball a little bit, but the heart that team ran via the defense, and 7 starters are gone. Also didn't really, I mean, they had a good recruiting class by Jacksonville State standards, but 122nd in the country. Another side I saw had them at 127th. So it's not like they brought a ton of recruits in to replace these names. So I expect a big drop off from the defense. And if you take away that defense, sometimes it's easy for your offense to look efficient when your defense is forcing 3 and outs against Conference USA offenses, which is kind of what was happening. And if you take away the defense or that defense struggles a little bit, I think that offense in turn looks a little shittier. So it's at 8. The under's at 8, by the way. So yeah, I'm leaning towards the under at 8. This is one I'd be considered betting. But let's hear what you guys think before.
Yeah, I'll go. Do you want to, or I'll go, whatever. They were 9, like you said, they were 9-4 last year. They had a hot start. Great. I think you said Cinderella. Pretty good way to put it. They lost way too much for them to rebound. They are in theory an FCS team that had a great quarterback. They carried them pretty far. They had a good defense. And now you lose everything and you have to build that back up a year later. I don't see it possible. They have the right coach to do it, but I don't think he did. They took a receiver from North Alabama. That's their biggest pickup. As I just said with the last team, Lacey. He's from North Alabama. I'm a little scared there. Like I said, I don't always trust receivers coming from those smaller schools because the secondaries, the biggest skill gap in terms of FCS to FBS is the secondaries. The secondaries are slow down there, or slow in the FCS. The receivers are kind of always going to pad stats down there. And Hughes, that the DE from Ole Miss, he was a guy who was a pretty decent recruit.
Yeah, I looked up.
He just wasn't getting play. Yeah, he just wasn't getting playing time. So that is a good pickup there, but you can't fill all those holes with one guy. I think they have I think the Conference USA schedule could get a little rough because you have a couple games that you're already circling as L's, and obviously that's Liberty and Western Kentucky for anybody. But they play 3 teams that they lost to last year. That includes Coastal. They lost to New Mexico State last year. Maybe they can flip that one around, but there's a lot of games that they won last year that probably will be flipping to L's. I just don't see it from this team.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Jacksonville State's first time in the FBS, they finished 8-4 and had a bowl game win. And whoever doesn't know, Rich Rodriguez is the coach, Jacksonville State, which is always funny to me when he was at Michigan, Arizona, West Virginia, and now he's at Jacksonville State. But, it's a good road for him. He's the right coach to lead the Conference USA team. He likes to play fast, so even though he's only returning 5 offensive starters, he relies on the depth of the team. So,
wait, Scoop, question.
Yes.
What do you know what happened to Zion Webb? Me and Andy couldn't find it. What's the deal with him? He entered declared for the NFL draft. Is he coming back?
Oh, I don't know. He's not on this team, though.
No, he's not on the roster right now.
I found a complete quarterback article, and the explanation was that he's not playing football anywhere right now. I went through this is creepy. I went through his social media. He's got nothing about football. There's no football. Zion Webb is not a football player right now. But at quarterback,
he had like a 7th year. It was his 7th year last year.
He did a 7th year last year, so he had no eligibility.
I thought.
So I don't know if he has eligibility.
So I thought he had another year.
So this was I looked at their quarterback situation because last night when I did pictures for the thing. They had Logan Smothers as their starting quarterback. Right. He was listed there. But every article I saw that said Rich Rod knows that Zion Turner is going to start because Turner plays exactly. If you watch UConn and you watch the limited playing time he had. He plays just like Zion Webb. He's not as good as him, but he plays just like him. So my expectation would be that he'll be the starter. The only reason Smothers is kind of listed as the starter right now is because he was there last year, and I think he played a little bit when Zion Webb was out.
He played.
But if you're looking at their quarterback situation, it's probably going to be Zion Turner, and that doesn't – neither one of them excites me, but that is not a good situation to have right now.
Yeah, I was saying – Smothers is probably going to maybe start the season, but – last year this team beat the other Cox, South Carolina, by they only lost by 10, or they only lost by 10 to them. So, but the issue with the depth though is this team lost Zion Webb. They lost both their running backs. They lost both top receivers, 5 of their 6 leading tacklers. They had a great transfer portal, and this time they have a bunch of FBS athletes instead of SCS coming up. And J-Rock Swain's one of the best defensive ends here, but they still have Hardy and they still lost Hardy and Stevens too. So. Andrew Paul's going to be a great running back, but I think they lost. I think they lost too many players to stay here. James Ziegler was signed. He's a JUCO, has experience and contribute right away to the corners. But I know the win total is a bit down here this year. I thought it was 7.5. I didn't know it went up to 8. But I think it goes under than that too. Really looking forward to the Coastal Carolina game on that Wednesday to start it off. But yeah, I think they lost too much on the offensive side to go over that.
Yeah, and could you scroll down to the graphics and pull up the Jacksonville State defense? It's right towards the top.
That's a tough non-conference schedule. Going to Coastal comes in, and then they go to Louisville and Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan's not great, but going on the road to play.
Yeah,
Eastern
they're at Liberty too this year.
Yeah, they're not beating Liberty.
So you could see all green. Their defense carried this team, and they lost so many pieces. So yeah, under 8 wins for me.
Yeah, it's only like 4 returning starters, I think.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Next up, not enough magic in the tank from Rich Rod here. You 6-6, you said for Jacksonville State?
6-6 is what I had them at, and that includes them beating New Mexico State, which I think that's a bigger question mark.
I got 7-5.
This will be a quick one. It's Kennesaw State, and I couldn't tell you one thing about the program, so I'm all ears, guys.
Yeah, so I'll start. This is my lowest thing, but they're going to be the worst team in Conference USA. It is their first year in FBS, and it's always kind of tricky feeling out how they're going to do. Last year, they redshirted a ton of players after 4 games after they see how the year was going, and also not so they can use them this year. So, but yeah, I think it'll take a year or 2 to get settled. I don't think they're going to be like a Jacksonville State team that went to a bowl the first year. Actually, that Jacksonville State team was the first time that an FCS team went to their won their bowl game after transitioning. So, it looks like they're sticking to the pistol option. When you're comparing stats here, you can see them compared to the rest of their conference, okay, but you're also looking at them. They were playing Charleston Southern, Tennessee State, Furman last year. So the quality of play is going to be much higher, even in the Conference USA. So, yeah, they have quality players, especially defensively. They're returning 9 starters, but I don't think they have depth at all. So, plus their recruiting class is 9th out of 10th in the Conference USA. So, I think the over-under is 2.5. I'd personally still lead under. So, also, they also have four teams coming off a bye in conference.
That's brutal. I actually didn't even notice that off the schedule. That's a pretty good. That's a good pull there because I didn't even notice they had all those off byes. I'll give a synopsis too. This was an FCS school last year that was 3-6 in the FCS. That is not a good come up. Brian Bohannon's been there for 10 years. This is obviously his first year as an FBS coach. Their preseason rank, as you'd expect, they are dead last. Obviously there was no beta rank numbers, no production numbers. So I looked, there's none of that. They are getting their leading receiver and rusher back. But again, FCS schools you were playing last year. That includes a loss, I believe, they beat Lynchburg to start, but they lost to Chattanooga and Furman in their second. I mean, these were FCS teams. They were a bad FCS team last year, and they are now moving up. They will be, I believe Scoop said they're the worst team in the Conference USA. They're the worst team in college football. They're going to be ranked in 134th in every single statistic in terms of like beta rank and all of that. I have them 0-12. I don't see a win.
Here's the thing, though. They have winnable games. Like
where's their? I mean, honestly, I looked at
home against Sam Houston.
Dude, Sam Houston's got a better team. Like they're a better team. Sam Houston's better.
UT Martin, maybe.
UT Martin's. You say UT Martin's a winnable game. They were losing games to FCS schools last year. They were 3-6 against FCS. One of those wins is Lynchburg.
Listen, Virginia. I had the other two, so
Lynchburg, Virginia is a D2 school, so they're one of their 3 wins last year was a Division 2 school, and now they're coming into a really tough this is a bad football team coming in to play harder teams. So I don't see a win on their
I don't want to talk about Kennesaw State anymore. Let's go to the next team. Liberty Flames. And I want to send it right to Andy. What do you mean they might not repeat? I mean, because I think 12-0, like, just chalk it up. Who's beating this team?
So it's less about hating Liberty. I think Liberty's gonna be great. I'm higher on Western Kentucky, who we're gonna go over tomorrow. They didn't really. I will say this: they did lose a lot of graduates. They didn't lose any transfers really. Liberty, all their important players that left all just graduated. So proves that they didn't want to leave. They had to leave. I'm going to say this. I am still taking their over because their schedule is really easy. But I think Western Kentucky and them are going to be playing for the conference championship. And I think Western Kentucky will have a shot to win that. So that's
maybe,
more.
It's in Liberty. And, okay, so say Western Kentucky wins, which I don't think they will in Liberty. Maybe if it was on the road. Well, where's the second loss?
I also think, and I know it's a non-conference game, Appalachian State's going to be really tough for them as well. They're going to be a pretty decent team. It's a road game at Appalachian State. Every Power 5 or Power 4 team that goes into Appalachian has trouble. I have no reason to believe that Liberty won't. Liberty's returning pretty much everybody on offense. They averaged 499 yards per game last year. They led in rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns, rushing yards, and total touch. They led in every offensive statistic. They averaged 11 more points per game than last year. They were so good that it's hard for them to probably replicate that, but they'll be close. I expect them to be very good. I'm just higher on Western Kentucky finally taking that leap with a different quarterback, but a very similar team overall. So I still think Liberty's going to be great, but I'm higher on Western Kentucky.
Scoop, Liberty 12-0.
Liberty 11-1 or 12-0, so I'm going over. They were 13-0 last year. They're obviously the front runner. They got crushed by Oregon in the bowl game, but yeah, they returned their quarterback, Salter. Quinton Cooley's probably the best running back in the conference.
Probably.
All right,
best running backs in the country.
He is. Trent Sibley may be up there with Noah Smith as the best wide receiver in the conference. They have a solid line, solid D. I don't see how Salter gets better than last year. I think he might be a little worse. He was number 3 in passing efficiency, broke the school record in touchdowns. Their receivers did take a bit of a hit. Besides Sibley, they lost 4 of their 5 receivers, but they got Julian Gray from NC State, Elijah Canyon from Purdue, They recruited Eric Smith, who's going to be a solid true freshman. But yeah, like Andy said, Liberty led the league in rushing last year. They're going to be great again. Their defense returned 8 starters. They're going to be solid against the run. I think I agree with Andy that I think their 2 toughest games are going to be Appalachian State, and I actually, if this was last year, they would have trouble against New Mexico State. But I also think the Jacksonville State game is going to be rough too.
No,
there's always one of those games where they're supposed to dominate and you don't. And I can see a Wednesday night that Jacksonville State can give them trouble. But yeah, I think they're going to be a playoff team. Personally, I think they're going to be the 12th seed probably. They're 10.5 over/under is the same as Georgia, Oregon, Notre Dame because of the conference they're in. And plus, Liberty is dead last in strength of schedule, 134 for 134. So yeah,
their toughest game being Appalachian State.
Right.
It makes sense. I mean, I think that'll be a tough game, but it is an awful best game on your schedule to have.
So what's the someone asked what's Liberty's odds to make the college football
plus
playoff?
440? I have it listed. Plus 440. That is the best of a
Definitely
non-power 4 team.
That's worth a look, man.
Here's my thing, and I'm sure we'll go over it more. Boise State's going to have precedent over them, and I don't think Boise State's losing a game this year. So that's I do think Liberty will be really good, and they'll probably be one of the teams that are close to being selected. But it's only one non-Power 5 team gets in, and I think Boise State's a significantly tougher schedule, and they're going to beat better teams, and they are a better team. So I that's why I'm afraid to bet that, because I saw that and I was like, hey, that's pretty good value for a team that easily is going to probably win 11 games. But Boise State's really damn good.
They do start a hard game against the Campbell Camels. So.
All right. So for those of you that didn't follow college football last year, Liberty ran the table in the conference. They bring back their entire coaching staff. They bring back. Oh, hold on. Let me pull up the returning production here. They're 68th in overall returning production, but they bring back 14 starters, 6 offensively, like Scoop mentioned, the starting quarterback and their superstar running back. 8 of their 11 defensive starters. They also had the best recruiting class by rating. They're 90th in recruiting class. Best they've had in the last 5 years. So new talent coming in should be efficient. Scroll down to Liberty's offensive numbers, Prop Beaver, in the spreadsheet. This offense was unstoppable. They're 3rd in the entire country in yards per play, 4th in success rate. Look at rushing. 1st in the country in effective rush. I don't see what changes. I don't see what changes that. It's not like they play a stronger schedule. No, in fact, some of their toughest competition. Their toughest competition last year was New Mexico State, who got gutted and lost everybody. So if New Mexico State with Diago Pavia isn't there to step them and give these guys a game, I don't see how.
I think Western Kentucky takes over as that second best team,
man,
which will compete. I'm not saying I'm guaranteeing Western Kentucky's going to win this conference. I think they have a pretty good shot to do it this year. I think they have a better shot this year than anybody did last year. Another thing, beta rank. If you look at their beta rank last year, and that's a number we use a lot during the season, they were 85th in defense. Their defense was pretty much non-existent in a pretty bad conference. So. If that's not better, then they're going to be in close games again. So that's something to look at.
Liberty to win the conference, Conference USA is minus 200. I may lay the juice.
They're the only. I believe they're the only team that is not plus. They're the only team in college football that isn't plus money for a conference championship this year.
Next team, please, Prop Beaver.
Even Georgia's plus 135 in the SEC.
Last team today?
No, we got 2 more, right? Oh no,
it's the last one.
Sam Houston. What's? Oh, there you go. So Sam Houston is last. And so which one are you trying to say this team's going to be? All right. Both of you?
I have the over on their win total. So if you want to go through their defense and offense first, go ahead.
All right. We'll probably was going to pull the graphics up.
Yeah, they were a fun team last year, man. I know they started 0-8.
It's SHSU.
SHSU. It's the Houston State University.
Yeah, I mean they started at 0-8, but it was their first year in FBS.
Yeah. They were 3-9 last year, 2-6 in Conference USA. They are the 8th. They're tied for 8th in the preseason poll.
By the way, I feel like every new team in Conference USA has just been used as a stepping ground. Well,
FBS. That's what they are.
Yeah,
the Conference USA.
Well, we're gonna go into the FBS. Let's go to Conference USA.
Well, a few years ago, Conference USA got gutted by the American Conference, so they needed to take teams that were decent in the FCS that wanted to move up. So they had to take Sam Houston. Kennesaw needed to wait a year. That's why this conference has so many new teams.
Here's the thing here's why I believe you guys are wrong about Sam Houston State. And by no means am I sitting here claiming to be Sam Houston State expert or anything, but I will give you that even though their record was terrible, they were competitive in a lot of games. They covered the number in several of them. So it's not like Sam Houston State was getting blown out that last year. But what was the backbone of that team? The defense. They lost 7 starters. They're 78th in returning production on the defensive side of the ball. And that was the only part of the Sam Houston team that was respectable, was their defense. Sure, they're bringing back 8 of their 11 offensive starters. Prop people, scroll down to their offensive stats. They were terrible. I mean, does adding Jace Bauer all of a sudden make this offense good? No. I mean, Jace Bauer's, I think, has some potential. And I think that's part of the reason Andy likes Sam Houston State is because he likes Jace Bauer. Jace Bauer was a freshman. Yeah, I mean, he's not bad. He was a freshman with Central Michigan last year. They brought him in to play quarterback this year. That combined with the fact that they're returning a ton of starters. No question, Sam Houston State's offense should be improved. But I don't think you guys are realizing just how bad it was last year. It was absolutely terrible. They could not run the football at all. I believe they were the worst rushing team in the FBS last year. Actually, I have it right here. They were 130th in rushing success rate. So bringing in Jace Bauer, throwing him into this bad offense with no run game, what can he really do? I mean, what kind of improvement are we really expecting?
Well, they were also down 7 running backs last year because of injury.
Well, they're like you said, they're returning their leading rusher and their top two receivers. And they started awful. They won 3 of their last 4 games. Those are pretty decent teams they beat too. La Tech, Kennesaw sucks, but Middle Tennessee State, they beat them. That was a pretty good win. I thought they got better as the year went on. That helps. The running game, it'll still be very meh, but I think it'll be better with a new quarterback in there. I think that'll help open it up a little bit because, I mean, as much as Keegan Shoemaker was good, I
didn't even think he was even that bad.
He was all right. I think just Bauer's just such a significant upgrade. I mean, in the limited time he played, he was very good at Central Michigan. He had some very good games. He can do more. He's also he can run a lot. He can scramble, so that helps. That'll help the run game too. I just think, for me, I think they did fine adding. I think they didn't lose enough for me to be scared. I think they're going to go 6-6 because their schedule is kind of trash. They play an FCS game. That's going to be an easy win. They play Hawaii. That should be a win. New Mexico State, like we said, that should be a win. So there's a lot. I think this is more. There's so many winnable games on their schedule. There's a few that I'm like, there's a lot of toss-ups, but like, probably shouldn't lose to Kennesaw. Probably shouldn't lose to Jacksonville State. Like I said, they're playing at UC, which I believe is UC Irvine. Easy one, if anything. Like, there's a lot of easy games there that I think they're a bowl. I think they'll be bowl eligible when it's all said and done. They will be one of the teams that probably gets left out of being bowl eligible because of them being new. But I think there's 6 wins on their schedule. There's a good enough team to get.
I could see maybe they beat Hawaii at home. Okay. Other than that,
Louisiana Tech.
They're gonna go on I have them going on a 3-game losing
don't
streak.
doubt Sonny Cumbie. Sonny Cumbie, man. Don't sleep on Sonny Cumbie. I expect Louisiana Tech to be improved as well.
Louisiana Tech will be pretty good because they're bringing back the same quarterback, I believe. Or no, they have the backup who was doing a pretty good job for Bachmeier last year when he didn't really do much.
So okay, I'm giving you Hawaii. Where are the other? Okay, maybe
New Mexico State.
All right, here. I got New Mexico State. Their wins are going to be UC, Hawaii, New Mexico State, FIU, Kennesaw State.
Wait, what do you mean UC? State. What do you mean UC?
Let me look. I just wrote
UCF,
down.
are you talking about?
No.
I'm not winning at the bounce house.
Hold on. Let me get to that because it just says UC on mine. But
no, it's
what the hell is UC?
UCF. Okay, so the UCF was a loss. There's a.
I have the beating Rice too.
Yes, I have them. That is tighter though. That one I wrote
I'm not saying it's crazy. What's the line on that? Hold on.
I don't know. Rice is laying
11.5.
Rice lost some home games last year that they should not have lost as well. That was another thing I looked at when I was looking at that game because they lost the game to UConn at home last year. Rice was not a very good team last year, and I don't know that they'll be much better. They have a new quarterback.
Let's hear these losses. Let's hear these wins.
Well, I have Rice as a toss-up, so that could be a win.
Okay.
Hawaii, New Mexico State, FIU, Kennesaw, and Jacksonville State. That's 5 with
on the road in FIU.
First of all, I don't appreciate.
I have it as a win. Yeah, I'm not.
Oh my god!
Also,
you guys are just throwing away Jacksonville State like it's a fuck. They're like so bad now. They're not that bad.
On the road in
expect them to be
dude,
that good.
that's a loss on the road. The wins that I see,
Well, that's why you
Kennesaw
have
State and maybe Hawaii.
New Mexico
So
State.
look. So they finished 3-9 last year. There were 5 one-score games. They went 3-1 down the stretch. They have 8 starters back on
Their
offense.
defense is the only reason they were one-score games.
Let me talk. I agree with you that their defense got a lot worse. They lost a ton of players, but I still believe. I mean, the quarterbacks knew, whether it's Hunter Watson as a junior signee, dual threat quarterback. They just won a national championship. I don't know where, but he did. And Jace Bauer started 9 games for Central Michigan, but I still think Noah Smith, one of the best wideouts in the conference. They're going to jump up, I think, in terms of points. But I agree, they're going to give up a bunch. So they're only returning 4 starters, and they're playing a schedule that has great offenses, including a UCF game out of conference, which is going to be a blowout. But Platt should be a nice addition to the team. Probably going to start right away on the defensive line. This team isn't as bad as the record was last year, so if they come out strong for once in a game, it's going to be completely different. I know their first quarter I think they were like minus 60 or something from last year. So I expect them to right the ship. I don't think it's 6-6. I'm not sure about a bowl. I think they're going to be 5-7 personally.
I see. Look at all the comments. Look at you guys. Everyone's like, "Oh, 5 one-score games." Like, not even take in consideration that the defense was the offense did nothing. The defense is the only reason that they were even there.
Well, their offense improved. Their offense is going to be better.
How much better, Scoop?
Well, the defense isn't going to be that much worse.
All right, let's go on. Oh, that's the last one.
They added a couple of guys from Power. Well, I guess not a Power 5 school anymore, but Oregon State guy that was pretty good on that team.
They added a Beaver?
They added Swen, who is a Beaver. Yes, Jimerson from Liberty, and Frazier from SMU. Those are pretty good PFF grade players that are coming in, and then it obviously dips down from there. But like they replaced some of the guys that left, so like it's not like they let them leave and didn't bring anybody in. I think if the defense is a little bit worse, like obviously it'll be bad, but if they're the same, I think their offense is going to be better. So,
all right, so we disagree there. All right, that's the last team. Let's do prop versus underdog pick 'em for MLB, and then Scoop, are you back tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm here tomorrow.
All right, so tomorrow we'll do the other 5 teams and finish out Conference USA. Andy, come in tonight to hook us up with the after effects for the week, and then so we're good. So, all right. Whoa.
We're counting down.
Yeah, we're counting down. We're starting over.
Did you guys see that? I thought it was a lie in the comments when I was sitting in here watching, and somebody said that Flaherty was traded to the was being traded to the Yankees, and then somebody commented under it. I really looked, and no, he didn't, and no, they are deep in talks with the Tigers to get Flaherty, and that's going to mean that Nestor Cortez is going to get traded as well.
Oh, Nestor.
Oh no,
nasty Nestor gone. Josh Allen.
Oh, I thought you were saying underdog. Oh, cool. Yeah, put it on the screen.
Look at that. Prop Beaver always going the extra mile.
I don't know why he's so angry.
Oh, he was yelling before. People were getting scared.
Yeah. All right, Josh. I can't read it though. Hold on. What is it, Josh Allen?
Over 498.
So he's got Josh Allen higher than 498.5 rush yards. And actually, we talked about this. The reason he likes this is Josh Allen's passing line is down at 3,800. He hasn't had a season below 4,200 in 5 years or something like that. So they really expect Brady to run the football again like he did in the second half of this year. And we're going to see a lot of Josh Allen hero ball, which results in a lot of rushing yards.
I was going to say, how many fumbles with that?
How many interceptions, right? Like, how many interceptions with those scrambles? So yeah, Prop Beavers likes this leg if you're putting together an NFL futures underdog pick'em. And if you are doing so and you don't have an underdog fantasy account, it's available in any state highlighted on this map here. So if you're in one of the states highlighted in yellow on this, we have the map.
Oh no, not the map. On the map.
The community pilot.
That was stuck in my, legitimately stuck in my head.
People love the.
There we go.
If you're in one of these states highlighted on this map, head over to Underdog Fantasy, the website, or download the app. When you make your account, you choose the promo code BET, B-E-T. That'll get you a $100 deposit bonus match. So you deposit $100, they will give you a free $100 to play here, to play with. Everyone, have yourself a great Monday night. I have some bets posted on the website, but they were posted last night. The lines are kind of gone. I didn't add anything. We posted some stuff for tomorrow later. We're going to start posting college football win totals. What I'll do is I'll keep a running. There'll be a page where you can see all my football bets that are already placed, and then I'll post new ones and then add it to the list. So you can always go and see which of my bets are open. I'm building that now. So that's how it'll work with the website and the app and stuff. Yeah, guys, feel free. Andy, I got to give you access to the website so you can start posting.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to find one more win total to post before. I didn't want to just post 2.
Well, I mean, the idea is we're instead of doing like here are my picks.
Is it going to be 3, like us 3, or
we're the 3 on the website posting college football picks? Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to find one more because I have a couple of ones that I've already bet. I've actually gotten one of my bets. You remember Michigan State? They're already down an entire win, so people are just completely off of that one. I got egg on my face on that one.
All right.